Good morning, everybody. It's been a while since I've done a daily devotional. I am still trying to work out how to do lives where I don't have to buy an app. Just so that you know that. So today, so I do this every morning. I just haven't been sharing them with you, but I'm going to walk through my process because this is what I do every morning. Sometimes Astra joins me and sometimes she doesn't. She's been pacing this morning. So first I draw from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Guidebook. That's my current new animal one that I'm playing with. Today I drew fish. Isn't that pretty? Fish, and Astra has decided to join. Hello, Astra. Restlessness, change of focus, lost in the current. The fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, and more movement. The roamy lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. With the possibilities out there in the vast waters, fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend some time with lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. When in balance, fish is adaptable and travels well. When out of balance, distracted, changes mind often. Bringing into balance, get a small goal and accomplish it. So fish is a really good one. I like that one. So I've been playing with two decks recently. I've been drawing one from each. If you've been following Daily Devotional for a while, you will recognize the Kuan Yin one because I had started it, but I hadn't really completed the whole deck. So that's what I've been working on. The funny part is that both cards that I drew this morning were number 26 in each correlative deck. So that was fun. So this is Wild Kuan Yin Oracle. I just love it. It's so beautiful. This is 26. She rides with wild spirit unbroken. You are a wild spirit no matter how often you've been told no, been suppressed by rules and regulations, been denied a right to speak your craziness, beautiful truths. Inside you beats a persistent, loving heart that will not be denied. Isn't that pretty? I love that. I love that all these cards, most of them anyway, have a yak. I just love that beautiful animal. Cultural conditioning in a healthy sense is meant to give guidelines by which we can operate as a functional society. Having boundaries for behavior enables us to relate to each other respectfully. We can contribute to society in ways that help us feel safe and supportive in a community, possibly, and so to create a good quality of life for its members. Less conscious, sometimes even abusive version of that is when personal choice is eradicated, where there is no sense that questioning is even allowed, when obedience is demanded, individuality is not honored, conditioning that is meant to assist the development of a healthy community becomes aggressive, regressive, infantilizing, and even taken to heart, quite damaging to the self that wants to emerge and grow. So I like that one. We'll see what Medicine Heart says. Medicine Heart's the new deck that it literally was just published a couple months ago. I got it. I had pre-ordered it. This is Isha Hakhama. I think I'm saying that right. Isha Hakhama. In Hebrew, Isha Hakhama means wise woman. A wise woman seeks and honors wisdom. In the Kabbalistic tree of life, the word for wisdom is chokmah, which resonates with the realm of the soul, with pure potential and innate essence. The oracle speaks to the deep divine wisdom guiding your life path. One cannot always understand the workings of such wisdom at an intellectual level. When the wisdom is most at work in us and in our lives, we are baffled and initially resistant to what is happening. You can notice these reactions and still choose to participate in the mystery of your own life unfolding with a sense of trust. To do so will require that you become peaceful and not being able to readily see what is happening. and instead drop into your heart and feel for the deeper inner reality. Be patient like the universe. I love that. I have noticed that a lot of Fairchild's cards are like some of my favorite. They're not always my favorite, but I really do like them. I love the artwork and the artists that she chooses to work with. So much of her work is multicultural. It's deep. It rides into the deep tissue of the earth, and she pulls the meaning out of the connections we have with each other. So part of today's, I think, messages, I'm looking at fish, which is telling me not to be so scattered, which is a real statement. Bringing into balance, set a small goal and accomplish it. I have right now a list on my desk that is 26 things long. And I have things that I have to get done before Wednesday every week, and I have things that have to get done before Sunday every week. And these are not things that I can just blow off and put off to another day. So I think fish is a very good animal for me to get today, to remind me that I just pick one thing and I do one thing at a time and slowly work my way through it, because I did kind of wake up this morning with a little bit of, I have so much to do today. And this is the thing, all the things I'm doing today are things I want to do today. They aren't things that I don't want to do. They're things I want to do. But I also have things that I need to do that I also want to do that I have to somehow squeeze in. And I got up a little late this morning because when I rolled over the first time, I think the undercurrent of the anxiety was a little bit too much. So I rolled over and slept another half hour. Astro did not let me sleep any more than that. And that's fine, because I needed to get up. And now that I'm up and I'm moving and I'm drinking my tea, and that's actually the other reason I decided to film Daily Devotional today was, okay, I need to collaborate with community energy. And I know that, as silly as this sounds, when I put daily devotions out there and people watch them, I know that I'm sending my energy, my positivity, and my grit and my reality out into the world, and I'm anchoring it. And I don't get back from that. Instead, I often get some of the best work done when I have given energy selflessly to others. And doing daily devotional is a selfless act for me when I do it for you. Doing daily devotional, I do every single day. I do this for me to help me get focused. But when I choose to film it and I choose to share it with y'all, that selfless act, that act of love and grace and compassion and sharing and grit and realness, lets me reinforce every day that I know I'm not here for me, I'm here for y'all. And when my journey gets really tricky, the more I give to others, ironically, when it's in balance, because everything has a balance, right? When I give and I do it in a balanced way, and I share the reality of things, and when I share the untangling of the mess that has happened in our world, it helps me continue to follow on my path. Long way of saying that, right? So Kuan Yin's card today, I like this one. This is the cultural conditioning one, right? And then the Isha Hakama is about wisdom that works in our life. The Isha Hakama is the card that often when wisdom is at most at work in our lives, we are most baffled and initially resistant to what's happening. Notice the reactions and still choose to participate in the mystery of your own life unfolding with a sense of trust. So trusting the journey. And the Unbroken Spirit card if I'm going to trust my journey, right? So this is trusting the journey and the wisdom of the journey. I'm trusting my plan. I'm trusting my blueprint. I'm also trusting that my guides will help me navigate through the intersection of other people's blueprints. I am trusting that what I don't understand will be okay. It will pan out. The guides will give me messages as I need to have them to make sure that I do the things that I'm supposed to do. And if there's a lesson that even if I have a lesson that's really hard, it's not going to break me, okay? Because I'm resilient, I have grit, I have support, I have my guides helping me, and I'm doing all the humaning things that I possibly can in conjunction with letting go of the ego and letting go of the entrapment of it's all about me, because that's an entrapment. But She Rides with Wild Spirit Unbroken, this one, is about the cultural conditioning that I have had to work to break. So very much like it talks about healthy sense is to give guidelines which we operate in a functioning society, having good boundaries, behavior that helps us relate to each other respectfully. I've had to learn these things. It doesn't mean I didn't have any of them when I was a kid, but I've really had to learn better skills, better cultural and societal coping mechanisms, because when I was a child, I had the unhealthy. Not all of it, not all of my childhood, absolutely not. I had some wonderful mentors in my childhood, but I did have very poor guidance on what do I do when I'm frustrated about something, instead of being hit or verbally abused. You don't do those things. I can have experienced those and recognize, okay, I don't want to perpetuate it, but when I'm at my worst, I do. I have said things. My poor husband, he's just amazing. He said things like, oh, that wasn't very kind. And I go, you're right, it really wasn't. And then reframing it, like, what did I just say? Why did that come out? And it's being intentional with the energy in my mind, my spirit, and my body. I get frustrated. I'm in a human meat suit just like everybody else. I have days, I have times when I think unkind things or I say unkind things, and not because I want to, but because that's part of the emotional ups and downs of what happens when you're in a human environment, you're in an earth environment where the energy is very heavy. And if you notice, there's a lot of ick out there in the world. And so I work constantly at She Rides with the Wild Spirit Unbroken. I'm constantly learning to be intentional. Even, somebody said something recently. They were like, you say that so kindly, Red. And I went, you're right. I do say that kindly. I did say that with intention because it's important that we all learn to be honest. We all learn to be, I think all of us want to be honest, honestly. I think that my philosophy has always been each person has to right to fill the world the way they see fit. I've thought that since I read that little quote from whoever wrote that many, many years ago. And that philosophy has been an integral part of how I thought before I found the quote, and then I've used that quote since then. But intellectually, I know that people don't do things nicely all the time, and I'm one of them because I'm human. I'm not perfect. Oh my God, please, whatever you do not think that I'm perfect. I make mistakes all the time, and I hurt people's feelings, and I say things that are not nice, and I have lost friendships that I didn't even understand why I lost friendships. Probably because I said something mean or I said something unintentionally hurtful and nobody called me on it. That's fair. But the things I work on when somebody says, oh, you said that so kindly, that you put that, I think the undercurrent of that statement was actually something like, you put that person in their place and you said it as nicely as possible. And I went, Yes, without the undercurrent of you're an idiot, don't say that. Like, because I genuinely want, if somebody's going to say something to me, instead of, Red, why do you always feel like you have to tell your story? Okay, so instead of that statement, it could be, Red, have you thought about maybe sharing that story at a different time? Or, Red, we've already heard that story. Thank you for sharing. Because I do have a neurodiversity. And it took me years to realize that my sharing similar stories isn't because I'm trying to one-up anybody. It's because I want to share that I have had a similar experience. But I've gotten bullied for that. I've gotten put down for that. I've gotten insulted for that. Those are real things. So I never want anything that I say to someone else to be hurtful, to go through that cultural putting down thing. I want to share by lifting other people up. So I work on it, but I also have to work on understanding that sometimes things that happen around me are part of the lesson, they're part of the journey, and I have to trust it. And recently in my hobby, years ago, in the hobby that I participate in, I participate in a historical recreation 501c3 history. I love history. So it's like right up my alley for teaching and educating, and it's something I love. And I got bullied really, really bad. Bullied enough that my membership was in somebody else's P.O. box, was in somebody else's mailbox for like 4 years because I couldn't and wouldn't play in my local area because I was bullied so badly. And eventually, the organization I belonged to got on the bandwagon with the rest of the country in so many other institutions and decided to have an anti-bullying policy. Well, the person that had been bullying me, right about that time, so right about the time the bullying policy came out, this person that was one of the ringleaders, there were 3 people that I was being bullied by really badly. One person moved to the East Coast, one person moved to another state, and the other person decided to become inactive. And I stepped into a role in our local group. My membership moved from somebody's mailbox back to our local area so I could do that. There's rules in our organization about where you live and where you can volunteer. It's kind of weird, but anyway. And I stepped up in a leadership position, and then COVID happened, and I did my 2 years. I stepped down. I did a little bit longer than 2 years and stepped down. And that person, one of the people in that group, now has gained a position of authority. And it's not a position of authority by right. It's a position of authority by subsection of culture in this organization. And I can't do anything about it. I can't, unless this person currently picks that behavior up. They're not in my local area anymore, so they're probably not going to, that I know of. But I also am not going to spend any time in that organization or any money in that organization if that person is in a position of authority. So, and before you ask, did I file a bullying report now that there's a policy? No, because it all happened before there was a bullying policy, and I was told outright that it wouldn't go anywhere, and that person's protected by other powerful people. So, at this point, I was actually told by somebody at this point it would look petty. It would look like I'm a child stamping my feet and pitching a fit. So I have to trust in the divine wisdom, because it's important in this circumstance that in some ways I've let the event go. In some ways it's fine. In other ways, it's extraordinarily triggering. I'm not afraid of this person hurting me anymore, but I don't want to support an organization that doesn't at least acknowledge that it happened. And it happened in a really bad way. So this is wisdom. This is recognizing the wisdom of timing. Sometimes you walk around blindfolded, and look at the sword she's holding. I am not an innocent victim. I know that I have power and grit, and I have the ability to hold my own, and that I have choices to make. And those choices are okay. And culturally, there's a culture within a culture. And I have the ability to hold my own ground and know that I have value, and that the cultural subsection of this organization is desperately trying to do the right thing. It's also really hard to do the right thing when the people, not everyone, but there are people in power who got there on the backs of other people and by stomping other people down, and not in a good way. And that is a process that this subsection of culture, this little mini organization, it's worldwide, but it's a tiny organization in comparison to so many others, is growing and is trying to navigate this. And as it navigates, it may not make it, or it might make it. And we're not going to know for a while yet. So I think I need to, for me, make my tasks one task at a time. I need to trust the process and be okay with that process. And I need to trust that I'm working on things day by day in a way that helps lift other people up as best that I can, rather than drag them down. And it's an ongoing journey. So that's today's daily devotional. I'm going to keep trying to do daily devotionals. If anybody has any ideas, send me a DM or IM, or send me a message. I am looking for an app that will let me do live feeds to Facebook, my business Facebook page, Elemental Healing, and my YouTube channel, where I can do live feeds where I don't lose the video, because there's apps that let you load it in, but then you don't get a copy of it. It's frustrating. And that doesn't cost me any money, because this is where we are, guys. YouTube is not a moneymaker. Facebook is not a moneymaker. It just isn't. And when I record like this, I have to, it's about a half an hour to 45 minutes worth of work to get it up. And I'd like to do it live, so I only do it once. So if you have any ideas, let me know. We'll just keep plugging along this way. I'll figure it out. Somebody's going to have a solution. There's got to be one out there. I know other people do lives all the time, so there's got to be a way of doing it. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I will see you in prayer. Blessed be.